Let's move on to licensing
Yes.
of dogs in Stark County. I know that there's been some discussion over the years at the commissioners' meetings as to the volume of licensing.
Correct.
Which is very important.
Correct.
Because if there's an incident out in the community, if you can get the history of the dog, get to the owners of the dog, it's a better situation for the Stark County community. So
Right.
would you just talk about what the licensing percentage has been?
Yes.
Has it moved up or down?
Sure.
And maybe some talk about the fees.
Okay, so here, when I came in again 5 years ago, our fees were set. The commissioners annually can vote on the fee amount. Our fees, when I came in, I think they were 12, and then we moved them to 14, and now they haven't moved since I've been there. They've been 14 for a license. Now the penalty is double by state statute. So if you don't get a license within 30 days of ownership, or you don't renew from December 1st to January 31st of the next year, then you're charged double the fee, $28 per license.
And from a professional standpoint, what do you understand as the primary reason / benefit from licensing?
Well, and so here's the crux of it. What you have to understand is the dog warden's office is what's in what's called the Dog and Kennel Fund. It's an independent fund that gets revenue from dog licensure to go out and be able to do our dog and do our job and house the dogs within our facility. And that Dog and Kennel Fund, those monies for collection of licenses, redemption of dogs in our facility, or the adoptions that occur, we get no money from the general fund at this point. Now, statute says that if we run out of money, the county commissioners can move money from the general fund to fund us. But we've been very blessed and never had to do that in even from my standpoint and even prior to me, because we've done a real good job about making sure that people are being held responsible for license. Now, having said that, you have to understand that we don't really know how many dogs there are in Stark County. I can tell you that before we had this spay-neuter program in-house, we were seeing about 1,600 dogs a year come into our facility. We're down to about 1,300 dogs a year. So we've decreased the number about 300 by doing this spay-neuter. These dogs aren't coming back to us. Out of that, none have license when they come to me. Now, last year, 1,300 dogs came in. Only 350 of those 1,300 were reclaimed by their owners. And out of those 350, over 90% didn't have a license when they came to redeem their dog. And they purchased the license when they were with us. Now, every dog we adopt that doesn't go back to their owner, we sell a license when we adopt them. So those dogs all got licensed. About 850 got licensed when they left.
And what's the license run right now?
$14 for regular license. If you have to pay the penalty, it's another $14 because the statute says it doubles. So it'd be $28 for a license if you get penalized.
Let's say a citizen gets bitten
Yes.
by a licensed dog.
Yes.
Is there a benefit to being able to track the history of that animal and perhaps avoid having the animal destroyed?
Well, and in most cases, if we actually are under contract with the 3 health departments in Stark County to investigate dog bites. So there's 2 different types of dog bites. One is an owner's dog bites somebody, and we are able to determine who the owner is. And the other is a stray dog that bites somebody.
And that's through licensing that you can...
It's through licensure or even through witness testimony or whatever. We determine that where they are. Then we can go back to that home. We can verify that dog. We can verify rabies vaccination. We can verify the background of the dog. So the person who was bitten wouldn't have to go through that rabies compendium protocol for being bitten by an unknown animal. And so there, before it used to be...
And the animal itself could be safe too, right?
Well, in most cases, yeah. We don't destroy an animal just because it bites somebody, even...
No, but if you can't determine whether or not.
It could potentially be euthanized to send out for testing to see if it is rabid or not.
Okay.
So yeah, that could happen. So yes, it does. But back to the licensure, you had asked about number of license. We sell about 46,000 licenses a year here in Stark County, and it was a little bit less before I came on board because nobody was really actively going after the people who didn't renew. So in other words, we were having 8,000 or 9,000 people who never renewed from the year prior for licensure. And we'd send out a notice. The county auditor handles the licensure part of it, and they would send out notice, and then people would voluntarily renew their license. But we would lose about 8,000 people during that period. So when I first came on board 5 years ago, I said, let's send out a delinquent letter. So we sent out a delinquent letter, and we say basically, hey, if you no longer have the dog's passed away, please call and let us know so we can get you off the books. But if you just forgot, go get a license and call us with that number. And that first year we generated $132,000 from people who we would have lost and never got that money from. So fast forward to today, we get a lot more compliance because people know the delinquent's coming, then we're going to come visit them, and so we're getting that voluntary, they're voluntarily renewing their license. So the numbers starting to come up because we get new dogs. Now, dogs do drop off and pass away and things, and so they drop off. But the state of the Humane Society of the United States has a formula, and when we plug in our numbers based on the number of households we have in Stark County, we should be selling about 65,000 tags, and we're selling about 46. So we're losing about 20,000 people because we can't go door-to-door canvassing. I just don't have enough people to do that. So hopefully we will slowly build that up. Plus, less strays are out running. We're able to go and, when we get complaints about dogs, by the way, we don't handle dog barking, but when we get complaints about a neighbor's dog, going on their yard or something happens, and we go out, then we check for license. And if they don't have it, we issue a citation, and then they have to purchase a license. So
and pay a penalty too.
And pay a penalty.
What's the penalty?
It's, again, on a licensure penalty is if you had the dog longer than 30 days, or you had it last year and haven't got a license this year, the amount of the license doubles. So it goes from 14 to 28.
I see.
In addition, you get a ticket for having a dog unlicensed. That's upwards to $100 on a first offense.
Okay.
So it's very well worth it to go buy your license.
Right. How much revenue does the licensee produce annually?
Right around 700,000 or 800,000 with penalty. The ones that penalty and stuff. We're around 700,000.
Have any other sources of revenue?
Yeah, then we have redemption fees. If someone comes to claim their dog, we charge fees for redemption, and adoption fees to help offset our cost if someone adopts a dog. So those two sources, and then donations, obviously.
What do the other fees generate, and the donations $35,000 and above, right?
Well, the $35,000 that we've collected so far was specifically earmarked towards the building renovation, but we do get additional donations towards the care of the dogs. Friends of Stark Pound, as an example, they donate upwards to $35,000 a year just towards the care of the dogs through the medical. That's not the $35,000 we collected for the building fund so far. And then we'll get a donation here or there. A lot of people do in-kind donations. They'll bring paper towels, they'll bring food or treats or towels. We use a lot of towels, and so they'll bring towels to us as donations. Okay. So we get a lot of in-kind contributions.
Okay. How about the redemption fee and the other?
The redemption fee on the first offense, if the dog is licensed, we release it at no charge. Okay. On a second offense, then it's, but if they didn't have a license, it's a $22 fee for the first day and $5 or $10 for each additional day. On a second offense, it's $44 for the first day and $10 for each additional day.
And what does that average on an annual basis?
We collect, between that and adoption fees, like in-house fees, we usually collect, I think it's right around $30,000, $35,000 a year. It doesn't really cover the cost of what we're doing, but it does help offset the cost.
Okay, so you're going to have a budget in most years upwards of $1 million.
We're right around $1 million, $1.1 million, yeah.
Okay, and so you were into the commissioner's office today because you have a rehab program going at the dog pound.
Correct.
So all that is not taxpayer money, and sense of coming from the general fund, but this is what we call an enterprise fund?
Well, what'll happen is the county has agreed to take money from the general fund that's under capital improvements.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to move some of that money, because again, the county owns the building. It's not my building, it's a county building. So they've decided to move some funds to from capital improvement into the building. In addition, we've been very fiscally responsible at the county dog warden's office, and we've been able to carry over money over the last several years. So we're going to be able to actually contribute to this project through our enterprise fund, through the dog and kennel fund, about $150,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Because most of the $1 million that's operational costs.
Yeah, but we've carried over. So even though we
Right.
offset, we get about what we take in. We have money to operate, and we've carried over a little bit. And so over the several years, we've been able to put a little nest egg together to be able to help contribute to this. In addition, like I explained earlier to the Board of Commissioners and to you, that I actually, when we first started talking about doing this project, people were calling me. I mean, they were burning up my phone, said, we'd really like to help out with this. We'd like to help the dogs. Can we write a check? And we didn't even actually advertise, but we said, sure. We've already gotten $35,000 towards the capital improvement.
Is the money still coming in? Or
It's still coming in. Okay. We're going to do some projects, which we'll be announcing here, and I guess I can announce it with you today. We're going to do a project where you can buy a brick, basically, and you'll buy it's a tile brick, and we'll put your name on it or your dog's name and memory and a date and stuff, and we're going to have an entryway wall that will actually put that on there, and for a fee, and then that way it'll be immortalized. Your dogs will be immortalized in the kennel as being there.
And what will be the charge for that brick?
We haven't set the price yet. Okay. We're thinking around $100, $150, okay, of which like 30 or 40 is the actual cost, and then the rest will go towards the building renovation.
I get it.
And then we're also looking at possibly people doing an ongoing sponsorship of a kennel. As an example, Martin can say, I'm going to send you a check every month for $100 for kennel number 29, and there'll be a plaque on it and appreciation of that, and that'll be an ongoing fund towards the building renovation. So,
have you discussed the fee on that?
No, we haven't done that. Those are things that now that they have officially approved the renovation, we're going to move forward with fundraising.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So when does the renovation begin?
A target date to move it now, because we now approved it. We're probably looking at putting the bid packet out and accepting bids into July, and with the hope of starting sometime in September, getting groundbreak in September, and so it'll go. They're anticipating if they can get on it and get it under roof and do what they need to do, that they can do their project in about 4 months, 4 to 5 months completion of project.
So maybe by the end of 2018?
Or the very early part of 19.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you, John Barber, Warden, Stark County Dog Pound, for visiting with the Stark County Political Report today.
Thank you very much.